All right, so the House of Luciano, man, they are really doing a good job when it comes to these Louis Vuitton clones. At least from what I can see, it looks like they only really make Louis Vuitton clones. I don't think I've seen any other sort of Luciano fragrances that are out there that are cloning different things. But these two so far were the ones that I had previously had before the ones that we're going to talk about in this video. And this is going to be Sunset Swim, which is the afternoon swim clone, as well as California Vibe, which is the California Dream clone for Louis Vuitton. These two are, I would say, extremely close to the originals. This is definitely going to be the closest one out of all of the different like Middle Eastern clones that you can get out there. The only thing closer, I would say, is Alexandria's version. And this, to my knowledge, is really the only California Dream clone that I've seen. And this was pretty much like identical for the most part to California Dream. So now fast forward to what we have here today. And what we have here now are clones of L'Immensité, which is Luciano's Magnitude. And then we also have the Pacific Chill clone, which is Luciano's Coastal Breeze. All right. So these are the presentations for the two fragrances. As you can see, the Magnitude, it really doesn't have too much, design elements to the box. It's just pretty much a white box with the name of the fragrance as well as Luciano on the front. You also get like the bottle size and concentration down here at the bottom. You can barely see it on this box. Whereas with the Coastal Breeze, you kind of get this design where it's kind of like these people walking out from a beach, walking into the water. Definitely a much nicer and more interesting design of the box on this one. So up top, you've got really nothing on either one of them except for you've kind of got like the sky part of the design on the Coastal Breeze. On the sides, you've got pretty much the beach, I would say, for the most part on the Coastal Breeze. And then really nothing on the Magnitude. And then on the back, you've got the ingredients for each one of these. All right. And then on the bottom, you've got like the barcode and stuff like that. All right. And then in terms of the bottles for these two fragrances are actually slightly different from what the previous Luciano bottles were. All right. So you can kind of see that in like the shape of the bottles, as well as like the cap, the neck, the height, I would say. These ones, I would say, are a little bit fatter. These are a little bit skinnier and taller. And then you've got like the Luciano logo on the top of the cap here. Coastal Breeze, Extrait de Parfum. And then you've got the Extrait de Parfum on the bottom here. So this is just going to be just like I would say, a first impressions of these two fragrances. Not really going to be focusing too much on performance or anything like that. This is just going to be kind of like a first impressions to let you all know how close these seem to come to the original fragrances, and whether or not so far I think that these are actually, worth a purchase. So I'm going to start off with the Coastal Breeze from Luciano. So again, this is going to be the Pacific Chill clone. If you're not familiar with Pacific Chill, the notes for that fragrance pretty much are, in the top notes you have citron, orange, mint, lemon, blackcurrant, and coriander. In the mid you have apricot, basil, carrot seeds, and May rose. And then in the base you have fig, dates, and ambrette. So the way that this smells for the most part, and I'm just referring to just the scent profile in general, is it's this really sort of, fun, tropical, but yet at the same time relaxing, refreshing sort of scent, in my opinion. It does have, a slight sort of greenness to it. I can definitely say that for sure. I feel like you mainly kind of get that from like a mixture of like mint and basil within the fragrance. But there's also like a heavy emphasis on apricot, I would say, which is like the main player, I would say, kind of driving this fragrance. And then within the opening spray, you do get a lot of citruses, but within at least the original fragrance, Pacific Chill, I feel like the main thing that really sort of makes this a really enjoyable fragrance is that black currant note. The black currant is definitely pretty dominant in my opinion, when you first spray this on in the opening spray. Now, when it comes to the Coastal Breeze, that's where I feel like there are some slight differences. So the Coastal Breeze, in my opinion, it has a slightly heavier emphasis on that citron and lemon. So this one is going to come off as slightly more tart than what the Pacific Chill does. In my opinion, it also does not have as heavy of a dose of that sweet black currant note that you get from Pacific Chill. So this one, it comes close. I would say within the opening, this is going to be like around 85 to 90% close pretty much to Pacific Chill. But again, that black currant note, or the differences between the black currant, within this and Pacific Chill, are definitely noticeable, I would say, for sure, between the two fragrances. Now, that noticeable difference, it really only kind of lasts for like the first few minutes of the fragrance. And then I would say pretty much once you start to get into the mid, where you start to get into like the notes of like the apricot, the basil, the fig, that's when I feel like this starts to become a lot more closer to Pacific Chill. I would say within at least like, 90-95% close for the most part. So this is a very, very solid interpretation, I would say, of Pacific Chill. Now, I'll be doing a comparison between this, the Alexandria version, and I also have a sample of Central Obsessions version as well. So I'll be comparing those to, kind of let you all know which one seems to be the closest to Pacific Chill. But I would say so far, what I'm smelling from this fragrance, it does seem to be, pretty good. And I would say, this is, again, a 100 ml bottle. I believe I probably paid like around, $35 to $40 or so for this fragrance from FragranceSpy.ca. So the price on this is also very good as well. And I feel like, for around that $35 to $40 price range, for the quality that you do still get with this one, this is very, very good. So I do recommend this one as a buy for, a Pacific Chill clone. All right. So like I said, I'm not going to get into performance or anything like that. I'll do that in a later video. But so far, this is definitely a thumbs up from me. All right. Now, when it comes to the L'Immensité clone, so this is actually really, really, really good. All right. So this one, I can say for sure, so far anyway, I do think that this is better than L'Infinite from Fragrance World. And I would say the reason being is this seems to have, for the most part, about the same sort of, accuracy to L'Immensité. I would say slightly more. It has like L'Immensité, it has this sort of added sort of sweetness to it, right? That I feel like a lot of these other clones, they don't necessarily get, exactly right. This one has a little bit of it in it. I would say not 100%, but it does, in my opinion, come a little bit closer, just a couple percent maybe closer to Luminosité than what, L'Infinite does. All right. Now, also the strength on this seems to be, noticeably stronger than L'Infinite. L'Infinite, like I mentioned when comparing it to L'Immensity from Alexandria Fragrances, L'Infinite seemed to be a little bit weaker than that. And I would also say that it's weaker than the Lucianno Magnitude as well. So I would say just off of those two things alone, this one so far seems to be, I would say, the best one when it comes to, the best bang for your buck, pretty much. I think this one was actually a little bit more than what the Pacific Chill one was. I think this one was like maybe $50 or so from Fragrance Buy, either $45 or $50, something like that. I'm not really sure why, because I mean, I feel like both of these are very, very good interpretations of the Louis Vuitton fragrances that they're cloning. I don't know if there's more expensive materials that are being used in this one. I'm not really sure. But this one is very good. I would say this is more kind of on par with what I get from the Alexandria. Now, one thing that I noticed about the Alexandria L'Immensity within like the last probably week or so is after kind of spraying this on a few more times and comparing it side by side with L'Immensité, I feel like at first this one smelled more kind of like L'Infinite, where it was, kind of lacking that added sort of sweetness that you get from the original. This one, I feel like now is starting to get that for the most part. And I would say this one so far seems to be the absolute closest one, to the original Louis Vuitton. But I would say this one is it's like right there behind it for the most part. And I mean, again, this is going to be half the price that you would pay for L'Immensity from Alexandria Fragrances. So honestly, I would say if I had to choose between the Alexandria version, 100 ml of this, or this, I would definitely choose the Magnitude for sure. You're getting a better bottle presentation, obviously, than, what you get with the Alexandria. And that's just in my opinion anyway. I think that this does look better than the Alexandria bottles. So you're getting better bottle presentation. You're getting the same amount of juice. And you're getting pretty much the same smell for the most part, same quality of smell. I would say for, basically half the price. Now, again, this does have a slight sort of alcohol blast in the opening of the fragrance. So that's one thing that I definitely noticed with this fragrance when spraying it on initially, that I didn't notice that I definitely didn't get that with the Alexandria. I don't get that with the Fragrance World version either. And I really don't even think that I got that from like the Jean Lo Immortal from Maison Alhambra. I'm trying to remember if I got that from the Flavia at all. I don't really think I did. So that's, I would say, really the only gripe against this fragrance so far, the Magnitude, is that this does seem to come off a little bit more rougher in the immediate opening. You need to kind of let this one sort of settle for, I would say, about 15 to 30 seconds or so. And then pretty much after that, this is, it's good to go. But within that first 15 to 30 seconds, you are going to smell a lot of alcohol, which is kind of weird because I don't get that really from any of their other fragrances. I don't get that from the Coastal Breeze, and I don't get that from these other ones like the, Sunset Swim or the California Vibe. These are all pretty much really smooth fragrances right from the opening spray, except for this one. So I don't know if that'll kind of go away as time goes on with this one, But that's just something that I wanted to kind of point out, for you all to be aware of. But again, man, I would say that this one so far, if you're looking for the best sort of Le Mans Cité clone, this is going to be the best one so far that I've smelled. This also seems to have more strength, I would say, than L'Infinite for sure. Again, so if you felt like, if you're someone who bought L'Infinite and you felt like L'Infinite just kind of lacked projection, or maybe it didn't last as long on you or something like that, I would say try this one out then. Now the strength difference, I would say, is not like, it's not going to be, in my opinion, as beast mode as something like Jean Lo Immortal from Maison Alhambra, because that fragrance, it's even stronger than the original Louis Vuitton, in my opinion. So this is still going to stay true to the original, Louis Vuitton scent profile. But in my opinion, this is going to be more along the lines of the strength of the original Louis Vuitton fragrance. All right. So that's my take on these two fragrances from Lucianno. Again, Magnitude as well as Coastal Breeze. Just pretty much my sort of first impressions of these two fragrances. I would say so far these are definite buys. If you like the two fragrances from Louis Vuitton that they're cloning. So again, Le Mans Cité as well as Pacific Chill. So if you like those two fragrances, I would absolutely recommend picking these two both up. And again, the prices for these at fragrancepie.ca is pretty decent. Again, I think this one is slightly more than what the Pacific Chill clone is, but they're still pretty affordable, I would say. So definitely, man, let me know in the comments, what do you all think about these two fragrances if you have actually gone out and purchased them? How close do you think that these are to the original Louis Vuitton fragrances that they're cloning? And what do you think about Lucianno fragrances overall? Do you think that they do a really good job of, cloning these Louis Vuitton fragrances so far? So definitely let me know in the comments below, man. Also, if you're brand new to the channel, do me a favor, go ahead and subscribe. And again, we're almost there to 5,000 subscribers. Once we get to that point, I'll be doing a giveaway of two fragrances. One is going to be the Assad cologne from Fragrance World, and then the other is the Lattafa Cayenne Intense, which is the Givenchy Gentleman Reserve Privé cologne. All right. So I'll be giving those away to anyone who's a U.S. resident, who is a subscriber of the Vegas Scents YouTube, who is following the Vegas Scents Instagram as well as the TikTok. And then also I'll be needing you to, pretty much comment on the video that I'm doing the giveaway on. All right. Once again, that's Jamar from Vegas Scents. I'll see you on the next video.